Specifications, the one thing I rarely look at when deciding a game to play. Mostly because I play on the PlayStation, but nonetheless, a ton of people have been wondering about Genshin Impact's specifications on the PC as well as mobile platforms. So today, let's take a look at the minimum and the recommended specifications so you'll know if you're ready to play Genshin Impact when it releases in just a couple weeks. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like on it, as well as subscribe for more Genshin Impact thoughts, news, and gameplay every single week. Before we get into the video, I just wanted to say the channel has been growing like crazy leading into Genshin Impact's release, and to celebrate it, I wanted to do a special giveaway. The PS4 version of the game has a pre-order bundle available on the PlayStation Store that'll give you some awesome stuff to start the game off. This giveaway is only available for PlayStation 4 players, so if you aren't one, then don't worry, I will be doing more giveaways in the future as the channel grows and just kind of throughout the game's life. The giveaway will go until the 20th of September, and it's super easy to enter. All you gotta do is click the link down below, enter your PSN and like the region that you're in, and then subscribe to the channel and you'll be added to the giveaway. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Just a couple days ago, the official Genshin Impact Facebook page broke the silence on the official system requirements for the game, and it's a pretty lengthy list, but I hope to summarize it and help some of you out who are maybe looking for a new device or just want to know if that old laptop will run the game well. The Genshin Impact Facebook page also announced the start of the Bingo card event, which I won't get that into, but you guys can participate and get some cool loot for when the game releases. So far, I've gotten a few 4-star artifacts and some weapons, which will be really helpful in the first few hours of the game. I'll leave a link to that in the description just under the giveaway link, so be sure to check it out and don't miss out on this awesome little event that they have going on. Getting into the specs, let's start off simple and quick with the iPhone and the iPad, which can be summed up to any iPhone released since 2017 with the iPhone 8 Plus and above. I think if you have the smaller iPhone 8 that you'll still be able to run the game since they are the same phone technically. In terms of the iPad, if you have anything newer than the iPad Pro 2nd generation, which came out in 2017, then you're set. So it's definitely a bit more restricted on the iPad side since all the compatible non-iPad Pro models are the 2018 or 2019 models. For the iOS version of the game, you're going to need to have 8 GB of free storage to download the game, but honestly, going off of Shanghai, you should probably have between 10 to 15 GB free for future updates. I'm curious to see if the iPad list will get expanded, as I personally have the 2019 iPad 10.2 inch, which is like the quote budget iPad, and I have played a few games on it, but since it's not listed here, I might be out of luck. I guess only time will really tell. I think that they will expand this list for the iPads pretty soon. I think they're just kind of like a baseline right now. Next, let's talk about the PC, as this is where I think a ton of people will be playing the game besides the PlayStation when it releases. I just want to preface it with that I'm not amazing with PC specs, but I have a general idea of it, and I will compare some of these parts mentioned to similar things you might have in your own computer. Let's start off with the minimum specs because they're actually pretty low, and I think that a lot of people will be able to run it even on a laptop that isn't necessarily meant for gaming. I also want to preface it that with a lot of games overestimate their PC spec requirements, and from my own experience, Genshin Impact is also doing that here. So for minimum specs, we have 8 GB of RAM with an Intel i5 processor or an AMD Ryzen 5 1000 series processor as the most comparable like AMD processor. In terms of the graphics card, the game has a minimum bar of a GTX 1030, which is a 2 GB card, meaning that most modern AMD laptops and even the AMD APUs like the 2400 or the 3200 or the 3400G can all run this game, and they should be able to run them perfectly fine, to be honest. I'm actually interested to build a PC with the minimum spec requirements of this game, just to kind of get an idea of how much it would cost for somebody to switch over from a phone maybe. Let me know down below if that's something that you guys would be interested in seeing. When it comes to the recommended specs, I honestly think that these are being a bit exaggerated, as the PC I have currently technically is lower than the recommended, but Genshin runs perfectly at max settings 60 FPS, which is the current FPS gap. We might see that increase, and that might be why you need a better GPU than what I technically have. And yeah, so MiHoYo recommends that you have an i7 processor or an AMD Ryzen 5 2000 series equivalent with 16 gigabytes of RAM. For the graphics card, they recommend a GTX 1060, which is similar to the RX 580 on the AMD side. And I actually have the RX 570, which is a little bit lower, but as I said earlier, my PC is technically lower than this, but was able to run the game max settings with no problem. If you guys need help figuring out if your PC will be able to run the game, leave a comment down below and I'll try my best to help you out. Or maybe if you're in the comments and you know a lot about computers, give somebody a hand. For the PC, you'll also have to have an open 30 gigs of storage available, which personally I don't think is too bad for PC games. I know that like Call of Duty Warzone is like 200 gigabytes, so 30 gigs is nothing in comparison. Finally, let's take a look at the Android specs, and this is where it gets really confusing for many people. Since there are so many different chipsets and models of Android phones, it can be really hard to determine if yours will work on day one. So let's take a look at it, and I'll give you a short list of phones that will work that you might be considering or already own. The recommended specs are pretty good, as the Snapdragon 845 is actually a 2017 flagship CPU. So it's been creeping out into a lot of budget phones recently as it ages. But if you have a phone like the Samsung S9, the Google Pixel 3, the LG G7, or the Xiaomi Poco F1, then you are set. In terms of the new phones, pretty much any flagship phone that comes out, in the past 2 years will be perfect for the game. Or any gaming phone like the ROG phone, or a lot of budget phones in that $350 range, you should be able to get an enjoyable experience with the game, as well as many other games that are on the platform. Personally, if I was to buy an Android phone for gaming, I think I would pick the Pixel 3 or the Pixel 4a, as they both run a really clean version of Android that doesn't bog the system down at all. Or maybe even finding a used ROG phone could be a good option, but that's a little bit more on the pricey side. Just make sure that you look for that Snapdragon 845 or higher, and you should be set, because pretty much every new phone or older flagship will have that 4 gigabytes of RAM required, but you could always double check just to be safe. And there it is, Genshin Impact's official release specifications, summarized and explained a bit better than a bullet point list. I hope that this video has helped you out, and if it did, please be sure to let me know down below in the comments, and let me know what you are going to be playing Genshin Impact on. I'm so excited for the game, so I have tons of videos still planned when the game releases, so be sure to subscribe with notifications to keep up with the latest Genshin Impact news, thoughts, and gameplay videos every single week. As well, if you haven't already, go enter in my PS4 Adventurers pack giveaway linked down below. All you have to do is submit your PSN username and region, and you'll be entered to win. So far I only have like 15 entries, so your chances of winning are still pretty good leading into the game's release. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.